and we will start with Tim, Sky Sports News, please.
Hi, Heather, you okay?
Hi, Tim, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, good. Can we get your thoughts then on the squad and how much you're looking forward to the challenge of taking on the Aussies for the Ashes?
Yeah, really excited for the challenge of going to Australia and trying to get those Ashes back. And we've obviously got the World Cup after as well, so it's going to be a huge couple of months for us. And it feels a lot more real now the men's stuff has started to make us get out there and obviously get going with what we want to do. And the squad's obviously out tomorrow. More real now, big build up, quite a long time at Loughborough to get as best prepared as we can. We've had a really good trip camp to Oman as well, which is good fun. And yeah, hopefully if we can avoid COVID and get on that plane, we'll be good to go.
Can I ask you about COVID? Because it is obviously a huge concern for everyone at the moment. How worried are you in terms of the preparations?
Yeah, well, it's developed quite quickly, isn't it? We went off to Oman in our own little bubble and then came back and things are how they are. I don't think anything's changed as far as I know at the moment in terms of our travel there. We don't know yet what the quarantine is going to look like. It was potentially going to be 3 days if we were to leave now. Whether that changes or not, I'm not too sure. We'll just have to wait and see. And I think as a side and a group of staff, we've got used to being adaptable and having to be, because things change all the time. I think the main thing will be just trying to avoid it after Christmas before we get on that plane, because obviously there's a lot more around at the moment, and if we do contract it, then obviously we're not going to be able to fly. But touch wood, we've been outstanding at avoiding it at the moment and living safely and doing what we have to do to try and avoid it, which means probably we're going to have to hanker down a little bit before that flight, but that's what we have to do and what we've done quite a lot and used to it the last couple of years.
Does it make it even more challenging with all the things that are going on at the moment, the travel that you've got, the quarantine, everything sort of surrounding this series? Does it make it will it be an even bigger achievement if you can go there and win the Ashes?
Potentially, I think we're so used to it as a side. I think we'd probably be more used to it than the Australians, to be honest. The amount of quarantine we've had to do and restrictions we've had to live under. We obviously don't know what it might look like in Australia, but they're not immune. You've seen in the men's game today that Pat Cummins obviously have to miss that game because of being a close contact. And I don't know, maybe we can use it to our advantage. Maybe the fact that we've gone through restrictions, we know how to deal with them. We know how tough they can be and how to pull together as a side to get through them. Basically, maybe we use that to our advantage over the Australians.
And finally, from me, what would it mean to you personally to lead a team down under to win the Ashes as captain?
Yeah, it would be huge. The way we performed in 2019, I think, has created real motivation, certainly for me and for the rest of the girls, how we played and how we didn't perform in that Ashes series. And I think as a captain, it's the ultimate, isn't it, winning the Ashes away from home. We've also got that World Cup as well, so we've got a real chance to do something very special. A lot of planning's gone into it, but we're going to have to be able to adapt when we get over there. We're going to have to be bold. We know that, and we feel like we're in a really good place to do that. We've improved, I think, as a team, got more leaders in the side since 2019. And yeah, it'll mean a lot. It'll be probably one of the biggest achievements of my captaincy if we are able to do that and get the Ashes back down under.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. We'll go to David, please.
Thanks, Serge. Hi, Heather. Just, I suppose you've kind of touched on it there with the current situation. How do you sort of approach it? Do you come down hard and make people aware of their responsibilities, or is it up to the individuals if they want to see other people, visit restaurants, go to the pub? Because there is the argument that should they be treated differently from anyone else in society over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we'll get advice from our doctor. Dr. Tam, who's quite infamous in our side, is a lovely guy and he's had a great record at keeping us away from it. And I think the main strategy for us has been personal responsibility, and that's the case in a lot of things we do. And I don't think it should be different in this case. The girls are very responsible. we tend to be more on the boring side, I think, as a social team, and we obviously know the consequences if we are to catch it too late. So yeah, it'll be you must do this. It'll be totally a personal responsibility thing, and I think the girls will take that responsibility serious, and their responsibility to the team to make sure that we've got as many, all of the squad out there in Australia to do what we want to do.
Because I mean, obviously people want to be with the nearest and dearest at this time of year, but it might not just be the Ashes that they miss. It could be the 22 World Cup, and a real chance, I suppose, for legacy over these next few months. Yeah,
it's a tough one. Look, we're going to be away for 3 and a bit months, and you want to spend as much time with family as you can. Timelines are obviously a little bit important. I think if we get it this week, we should be okay. Obviously, if you don't get seriously ill, but look, we've just got to do the best we can to try not to get it. Try and mitigate as much risk as we can. And if you do get it, it doesn't mean you're out of the whole trip. It just means that potentially you have to fly in a little bit later. But hopefully, it doesn't come to that. Hopefully, we can get on that plane unscathed and go out and do what we want to do.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, I mean, the more senior members of the camp, yourself included, have achieved so much. But the next few months, there's a real sort of, like you've touched on it again, saying that there's something you can do, something really special. You're in that sort of territory. You must be really chomping at the bit, I suppose, to get going and get out there.
Yeah, I am. We've had a big training block as well, and I get itchy feet definitely after maybe 3-4 weeks, but it's actually been a really good spell for us to have an extended period of time together. There was a few niggles after the summer to get those right leading into the Ashes, and as a cricketer, the way the schedule is now with all the tournaments, you don't really get that block to really hone in on a few different things in your game, because you're always looking to the next game. You're always under pressure to perform. You don't have a chance to break down your game a little bit, and you sometimes need that time to reassess and change a few things in order for you to get better. So it's been quite nice to have that little block. But yeah, we've talked about it. We want to do something special. It's going to be tough. There's no doubt about that. Australia, obviously, a very good side. Best team in the world at the moment, so we're going to have to be at our best to go out there and beat them. But I think we've got world-class players that can win us games, and I think the pleasing thing for me in the summer was how we built a wider squad of players. We've brought in some new youngsters that have added to the side that have performed really well, and we've created a bit of a squad, I think, and there's real competition for places there, which has pushed us forward a little bit. So yeah, look, we're going to have to play very well. We're going to have to play out of the skin. We're going to have to be bold. We're going to have to stand up to the Australians and that aggression they bring, and win some key moments. But yeah, it does feel like it's a huge opportunity, and I think we're seeing it like that.
Mm-hmm. And just lastly, I think a lot of eyes will be drawn to Alice and Izzy being in that A group, and that carrot they may have of being upgraded. What are you looking for from them and the rest of the A group, I suppose, to get up like a boost into the main squad? Is it just in the fixtures, or is it maybe around practice and how they carry themselves as well, or is it all of that?
Well, it's great, isn't it, that we're taking an A squad out there for the first time ever. It's going to hopefully, if the weather holds, obviously for the men, but hopefully it'll give us some really good warm-up games and gives those girls an opportunity to play against the players in the squad and push their game forward. There's no guarantee that we're going to add to that squad. So obviously a squad of 17 we've picked for all of the different formats, but there is space if someone impresses us to be able to be added to that, which is exciting. And we'll only add someone if we feel they're going to add value to the group and add value to the team. But yeah, it's a huge opportunity for that A team. It also gives us the chance, obviously with having a squad of 17, that's a lot bigger than we'd usually take abroad. For COVID reasons, we're obviously doing that. It gives us the chance for some of those players to hopefully get a bit of cricket as well, because the England A team are going to be playing against Australia A, so there might be a chance for a few girls, rather than be sat on the bench at that test match, to be able to go and play a bit of cricket, which is really beneficial for us in the context of the series in terms of the white ball stuff. So yeah, we feel it's going to be a good preparation, and yeah, who knows, if those A girls have a really good series in those warm-up games against us, and also impress in those Australia A games, they've got the chance to make it into the full squad. And obviously the World Cup squad hasn't been picked as well yet, so there's opportunities there.
Lovely stuff. Thanks for your time and safe travels.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Raf, please.
Hi, Heather. Sophie Eccleston wasn't able to join you in the training camp. How's she doing?
Yeah, she's doing good. She's just got engaged, which is lovely. We felt like it was an appropriate time for Sophie to have a bit of a rest, stay at home, prepare at home with Lancashire and in our home region, and she's really chomping at the bit. I think she got a bit of FOMO whilst we're out in Oman, but it was the right thing for her to get her ready for that plane. But yeah, I'm good friends with Sophie, speak to her very often, and she's in a good place, and I'm looking forward to seeing her at the camp next week.
And after the 2019 Women's Ashes loss, there was quite a lot of criticism of the domestic setup in England. To what extent do you see the Women's Ashes as a kind of a sort of first test for how far you have been able to kind of catch up with Australia in terms of the restructuring of the domestic setup?
Not for me as a player, I don't think. I think that takes a little bit of time. In terms of domestic stuff, the 100 only started this year, so I think it'll be far too soon to blame a win or a loss or give credit to a win on the domestic system. So yeah, as a player, I think it's potentially given some of the younger players a chance at exposure that they wouldn't have had previously with the 100, with the crowds who played under the scrutiny, the TV coverage. So it's potentially given those guys a little bit of experience, which is brilliant. And playing in those high pressure moments, because how we deal with pressure and how we deal with the big occasion is going to be key to what we've got coming up in the next 3 months. But no, for us as a team, we don't think too much about that. That's obviously to discuss, and hopefully they'll be lauding the domestic system when we are successful over there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raf. Valkyrie, please.
Hi, Heather. You've got Charlie Dean in the squad again. She's a relative newcomer after last summer, but what impressed you about her performance last summer, and what do you think she can bring to an Ashes series?
Yeah, she really impressed me. I think her nous probably impressed me the most. I think I hadn't seen much of her at all before I played with her at London Spirit, and she's a very canny bowler. Not just having the skill, she knows when to use them, I think. Obviously, she hasn't played any red ball cricket, and we'll have to have a little look at what to do selection-wise there. But I think she's got the skills to be able to be successful in all formats, and the way she's thrown herself into things, I think the big moment for me when I realised we've got a player on our hands was that game at Worcester, where she bowled those real key overs. It took a 4 for, I think, and bowled real pressure overs as well. Good players. So yeah, it's a really good time for us. We've got a few younger players coming through, and particularly in the spin department, you look at us, they're all early 20s, which is quite exciting. Maddie Villiers, Sophie Eccleston, Sophie Glenn, etc. They're all very young spinners. And traditionally as a spinner, you mature in your late 20s, early 30s. So that's pretty exciting for the future. But yeah, Charlie's been a good find for us. She's added something a little bit different, and she's had some success so far, and I think she'll be good in Australia pitches as well. She gets a lot of drop, a lot of overspin on the ball, which sometimes you need in Australia when it is flat and it's not turning sideways. You need that movement in the air to try and deceive, and she's definitely got that.
And just finally, you mentioned going to Australia, you want to be bold. What do you mean by that? Is it a mindset? Is it tactically? Is it a physical thing? What do you mean when you want to be bold?
Well, I think we've got to take the game to Australia, haven't we? I think any team that's been successful against them has gone at them, meet fire with fire almost. The Aussies are at their best when they're on top of you and trying to exploit weakness. So we've got to make sure we're trying to punch first and be aggressive towards them and try and win those key battles very early, because when they get on top, they're quite hard to flip around. So yeah, we've got to be bold in terms of how we go about things. I think how we play our cricket, how we back our skills. We've got some players, I think, definitely to go out there and be very successful. So we have to back the skills that we've got and the players that we've got to go out there and execute their skills against the best team in the world.
Thanks so much. Good luck.
Thanks, Valkyrie.
Thanks, Valkyrie. Molly, please.
Hi, Heather. I know you mentioned her briefly earlier, Alice Capsey. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think kind of has, as a player who's played against her, what you think kind of makes her so special? What kind of stands out about her? Any standout moments from the summer that you remember from playing against her?
Yeah, she had a breakout summer, didn't she? She's obviously in that A squad, and excited for her to get some minutes. I think she played well against us at Lords. I think that was her best innings in the 100. She was quite aggressive, didn't seem phased by the occasion, and she's definitely one for the future. But I do think we need to be careful not to over-egg our players. I think she's young. She's obviously very talented and is one for the future. And her time will come, I'm sure, whether that's at some point in the Ashes, whether we call her up for the squad or in the World Cup or down the line in a few years, who knows? But yeah, she's exciting to watch, and as are a number of players in that A squad. I think that's what's so exciting. There's some players that emerged from the 100 that potentially wouldn't have got that opportunity before to show what they can do. So that's a huge positive from us in the summer. And the more players that we can select from, and the more players that can keep pushing the players in the squad, it's brilliant for the game. And yeah, we'll see how she develops and how she goes on Australian pitches.
And just last for me, on a personal note for you, kind of being part of the coverage, covering the men's Ashes at the minute, how does that help kind of prepare you? Does it kind of just gear you up and just make you want to already be out there, I guess? Tell me a bit about that, except for the late nights. I guess that's the not good part of the prep, but
yeah, it's only the one day that I've done, so with training commitments I haven't been able to do anymore. But yeah, it's just made me want to get out there now. I think made me really excited for the contest. Playing in the Ashes series is one of the toughest, but one of the best things you do as a cricket rivalry. The scrutiny that's been and the battles that you have with some of the best players in the world. Yeah, it's just got the juices flowing a bit to get out there, and a lot of us got up actually in Oman at 4 a.m. to watch the first day of play. Obviously for that game at the Gabba, and yeah, we were chatting about it and just getting us excited to go out there and play. It starts to feel a lot more real now, I think, which is nice. And yeah, hopefully the guys can drag it back, and hopefully we can go out there and have some success.
Definitely. Well, good luck with all the travel and stuff, and have a good Christmas.
Thanks, Molly. Andy.
Thanks, Molly. Mr. Simon Friend, please.
Hi, sorry, it's Nick here. I can't wear my Zoom. That's my dad. We talk. There's been a lot of talk. I was in past in the build up to past series about the test and I guess the 2-year wait that there often is. I mean, how nice it, I guess, from both sides. That obviously both you and Australia have had a test in the recent past against India to sort of, I guess, reacclimatise, if that's the right word. And I guess, how do you feel more prepared going into this series than you perhaps did last time around on that basis?
Yeah, 100%. I think we put it in there with an eye on the Ashes and getting a little bit more Test cricket and a little bit more preparation. And unfortunately, the Aussies copied us and did the same thing. But yeah, it was really good prep for us, that Test match against India. I think just getting used to the mentality that you need in red ball cricket, how you have to adapt to different pastures of play, how you have to soak up pressure at times and try and find ways to put pressure back. And a useful Test match for us. It was set up to be a brilliant one as well, wasn't it? And filtered out a little bit. And I feel like because we play so few Test matches, you learn so much just from playing and the prep as well. We had a really good week before that Test match against India, I think, of players working out how they want to play their Test cricket, how they're going to approach it, and how they're going to be successful in taking runs and wickets. And that was probably just as useful as well for that Ashes Test. And obviously, with the Test being first, we're going to have a big preparation and focus on red ball when we do get out there. So yeah, I feel like we're as prepared as we can be, and looking forward to it.
And did you watch much of that? Much of the Australia-India series? Were you able to catch much of it?
Yeah, I watched quite a lot when it wasn't raining out there. It's a bit of a theme here. It rains quite a lot in Australia. But Yeah, I did watch quite a lot and watch the highlights back as well. It was set up to be a good test match again, wasn't it? And unfortunately, didn't quite have the finish that it deserved. But yeah, we've looked quite closely at how Australia approached their test cricket as well, and from the small sample size that we've got, and how we think we're going to match up against them. So yeah, being able to watch them, I guess, has been a positive of them having that test match as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Heather. Best of luck.
Thanks, Nick. Cheers, Simon.
Thanks, Nick. Raf, please.
Do you know yet who's going to captain the A squad, or when? If not, when are you going to make that decision?
I don't know. That decision doesn't have anything to do with me. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm afraid can't answer that one. Look forward to hearing it when you do.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks very much, Raf. Thanks very much, everyone. Happy to take any more if anyone does have any more. No, Brill. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll send that recording over as soon as I can. Just a reminder, 2 p.m. tomorrow, the squad will go out, so everything embargoed until then. Thanks very much. Have lovely evenings.